as we're waiting for questions, if you have a question, just raise your hand or just chime in. But I kind of want to have a discussion based upon a discussion that I was having earlier this week with our team, with some clients. How many of you, show of hands, thumbs up, something like that, feel very confident in your closing rate for residential opportunities? Okay, we got Chris, Conrad, Jake is kind of in between. Michael's raising his hand, no surprises there. Russell's got his thumbs down. Bryn, they're doing awesome, they're rocking. Okay, real quick, Russell, you gave thumbs down. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on? What causes that?
Well, only because we've never had a dedicated person. You know, we haven't done residential really. We do new builds for the most part.
Okay.
We're HVAC. So we've got relationship with builders. So that's always been, hey, we've got a new project. We've got 10 houses we're building in this subdevelopment. We got a new apartment building. So we really don't need to close. You just need to come in with a quote that they're going to accept, right? So we're moving into the residential, just starting to get a sales guy kind of up and running. So that's kind of the reason why I gave that thumbs down for now.
Okay.
It's just in the infancy stage.
Okay, I got it. I appreciate you sharing all that. So maybe you want to call a few people, and then if they kind of want to share. Chris, would you be open? Because I actually watched a video recently that I believe you shared on this group call. And it was a story that you told about how one of your sales guys, it wasn't even you, it was one of your sales guys, gave the customer 3 estimates, and before you even did an on-site visit, they signed all 3 estimates. They signed up. And so would you mind sharing a little bit? I don't need to know every single like insight and move and everything like that, but the core stages of your sales process. You know, let's say a lead reaches out to you guys. What's next after that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so if somebody reaches out, usually it's by phone call, it's another common residential reach out process. So they'll usually talk to the office, and they'll set an appointment automatically without confirming. Like we have our calendar blocked for a certain time, so they automatically get appointments that work with their schedule.
Hey, Chris, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't know if something is covering your mic a little bit or what, but we usually it's not a problem. Usually we can hear you great, but for some reason the mic is kind of off.
Is that better? Hang on.
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
And
well,
I'm back.
I want to
Thanks.
Yeah, I want to revisit this. I very much want to hear this. Luca, you had your hand raised. What's up, Luca?
Hey, that was from the earlier question you asked about how our closing rates were. I was just chiming in there. I don't really have anything to say.
Okay, cool. Lance, would you be open to sharing? Because I know you guys close pretty well at Right Flooring. Would you be open to sharing? Lead comes in. What are the core stages of the sales process that you follow? And maybe if you can share a little bit of the why behind you do things that way.
Yeah, for sure. So, where we are is pretty competitive. There's a lot of different companies out here doing kind of what we do, a lot of good people. We're in a state that doesn't require licenses to do the work that we do, other than like the main kind of trades, like, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So, one of the things we do as soon as a lead comes in, we try to contact somebody and set them up to get measured like within 24 hours. We try to get them on the books. That's like, it's got to happen. The other thing is we go over some kind of basic pricing in the sales, like the estimating process in the house, just to kind of give them a good expectation to make sure they're a good fit, we're a good fit. We're all on the kind of same page. We're not wasting each other's time. But then from there, we want to get them an estimate in hand before anybody else. In fact, if something requires a drawing, something like that, anything I can do, send pictures and anything at all to kind of get to be a step ahead of anybody else or my competition, that's kind of my goal. That's the thing like I want to do first is, and the reason for that is, you know, and what I see happen most often is most people are still, you know, they're getting their 3 quotes or whatever. They're waiting on estimates, and I'm already like sending you pictures. I'm already setting up design meetings. I'm showing them that like, this is the pace we work at. This is what, you know, the attention to detail and service we're going to provide you throughout the whole process. That's kind of my initial, you know, goal for every type of estimate we see.
I love that. Agree with it 100%. He's in a competitive area, right? He even said, Lance said, he's like, not everyone's bad and we're the only good. There's a lot of good people out there. So how do they distinguish themselves? They place a high priority on what I call the top of mind awareness of that lead. Whenever a lead is reaching out, that is, they are in their greatest state of thinking about your company, of wanting to do something. They're in that greatest emotional state of having the vision for their home, having the vision for a project that they need help with, right? And the more time that lapses from when they reach out to as time goes on, that awareness, that excitement, that vision tends to go down, right? So he takes advantage of it in the beginning. Chris, I want to hop back to you, buddy. It looks like you've got all situated here.
Is that better?
Oh, so much better.
Okay,
so
excellent.
much better.
Sorry
Thank you.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lance and Robert hit on it. It's pace, detail, and vision. Really capitalizing on those aspects. Like my mind lives. There's all these things that I forget about doing in my day to day that I should be doing as a company owner, but like my mind lives in the sales process because it's those things: pace, detail, and vision. Our quotes are extremely detailed, very thorough, and we definitely jump on the fact that when people contact us, like just last night at like 8 o'clock at night, one of my buddies contacted me and said, I want to do this fence. Well, he had contacted me like 6 months ago and he was just kind of hemming and hawing about it, you know, that he was thinking about it. Well, I jumped right on the fact, like he contacted me last night and now like I'm ordering products today. Right. Like, I mean, like he contacted me and he's like, I'm finally ready. Well, he's excited right now. He's ready to do it. He's emotionally invested. He doesn't want to waste my time because he already told me 6 months ago that he is interested. I already gave him a quote 6 months ago too. And he's like, I want to do this, this, and this. I want to add these upgrades that they cost. Oh, is it like $1,000 to $4,000 more? Just tell me, let's do it. And I'm like, I'm ordering this stuff, man. Let's go. And he's like, okay, cool. Tell me when we're scheduled. So it really is about capturing the excitement of the project, because all the time people are always remodeling projects are expensive and they're always in the wishy-washy stage, except for when they're really excited about doing it, move with that and turn it into a closed job. Like we have a pretty high closed ratio for leads that we come in. I mean, we're easily 50% close ratio, but it's because we kind of capture that excitement and move the momentum into the job. They contact us, we move through that process relatively quickly with pretty thorough detail and cast vision. I think that's really important, is like we cast vision for what their project is going to look like and try to help.
That's so good.
So I think that's what's really important, is helping them visualize, because nobody can visualize it. I can see it because I'm like, this is like the last 5 jobs we did, or this is like so-and-so's Mrs. Smith's job or whatever, but they can't see it. And I think it's just a simple deck and they can't even see how is this going to look when it's bigger? I'm like, it's going to look just like this actually. Oh, that sounds amazing. Let's get it done.
That's so good. Bryn, I kind of want to go to you here in just a second to hear any of you got any feedback along these lines, your core sales process, why you do things a certain way. Before I do, real quick, to give you maybe some time, because I just called you on the blue here. But before I do, real quick, I want to read you guys some stats that kind of back up what Chris and Lance have shared so far. Because I feel like sometimes as coaches, like we feel like we're kind of a pain in the ass to you guys. like oh, Jake is shaking his head. No, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. What I mean by that is like the recommendations we make is purely just to help your guys close more deals, have a better managed business, all that. But sometimes it's tough. Sometimes the recommendations that we make is tough, right? So here's where some of this kind of comes from. Here's what backs up, what you may hear your coach say, what Lance and Chris are sharing. So according to a marketing like data company called Lead Connect, 78% of customers buy from the first company to respond. According to a study that was done by MIT, responding within 5 minutes increases conversion rates by 900%. Responding, guys, that's massive. Responding within 5 minutes increases conversion rates by 900%. Chris and Lance just summarized the importance of that in both of their shares. Only 7% of companies respond in 5 minutes. Harvard Business Review. You guys want competitive advantage? You don't need a huge ad budget to do that, right? You want a competitive advantage? You don't need to buy a huge franchise brand and get all your vehicles wrapped and throw up $10,000 monthly billboards. You can respond in 5 minutes, right? Check out these residential specific stats, right? Residential construction specific stats. So according to Modernized Home Services, 50% of homeowners hire the first contractor they speak with. If you reach out first and sound competent, there's a good chance you can lock in a deal, right? Good chance you can lock in an estimate before anyone else. Here's another residential specific one. 80% of leads that are not contacted within 15 minutes typically grow cold, especially true for inbound web leads and form submissions. Homeowners have low patience and high anxiety when reaching out for major repairs or renovations. And here's kind of like oh my gosh, 5 minutes sounds insane. Okay, that's intense. You could do it. You could find a way to do it. If you just committed to, I am going to own a business that contacts all leads within 5 minutes, you could find a way to do that. You might need to hire an answering service. You might need to do something else. You could find a way to do it though. But look at this. For those of you that can't see the 5 minutes thing, I'll give you an hour, because look at this. Contractors who follow up, according to Harvard Business Review, contractors who follow up within 1 hour are 7 times as more likely to qualify the lead. Right? Get the lead on the phone, qualify them, set an appointment. So anyway, there's
Robert,
real legitimate reasons. Yeah.
sorry, Robert, quick question. So is that just on the lead point, or is that sort of a overall communication / follow-up / I mean, is there any metrics on that, or is it just the lead piece?
So this is just on the lead front, right? Just kind of that initial lead coming in. I wanted to pull up stats to kind of support the themes of what Chris and Lance are saying, what we preach a lot here, right? But there are a lot of these same stats for the follow-up piece. I want to try to find it real quick, because there's one, for example, that I believe says 80% of deals take like at least 5 follow-up phone calls to close, or something like that. What's the Nephi? Why are you kind of curious about that?
I mean, I'm also a consumer, right? And so there's a little bit of a customer service element to this, and I'm just curious. It's great to be able to reach out and to follow up. I think one of the big challenges in like my experience as a customer with contractors and doing, having that kind of work done is follow through, right? And so I'm curious, in addition to the lead gen, if there's metrics that show, if you follow up and you're consistent, that's massively helpful as well. Because it seems like it would be. So I'm just curious for the group.
So it is. And I'm really glad you asked this, because I want to pull up this stat, and then Bryn, I'll go straight to you. Yes. Okay. According to the National Sales Executive Association, right? To Nephi's point, 80% of sales require 5 to 12 follow-ups. Yet, only 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up. How many leads do you guys have in your pipeline right now that you called them once? Maybe you called them twice. You called them once, you left a voicemail, and you're like, no answer. No answer, that lead's bad. Right? 80% of sales require 5 to 12 follow-ups to close. Here's another one. 60% of customers say no 4 times before saying yes. I don't know where this one is from. And so I just do think it's interesting. The kind of tenacity, I think that Nephi is talking about, the importance of that, not just quickness and calling the lead, but after you give an estimate, customers like, let me talk to my husband, my wife about it, right? You're not wanting to sit on the sidelines at that point and hoping you hear back, right? Well, I don't want to annoy the person. Well, don't annoy them, right? Like, just be consistent in your follow-up. And be careful about the narratives that you buy into that do not match with reality at all. I don't want to annoy the person. Well, they are considering your estimate. They took the time with you. They reached out to your company. Following up on their consideration isn't annoying them. There's many times to kind of put myself, like Nephi was doing, in the consumer's perspective. There are times where I get busy and I'm wanting a service, right? And so I reach out to someone, we talk, they send me something, I don't get back to them, right? Working, doing whatever. And I appreciate those companies that consistently follow up, because I may not recognize their number, I may ignore it, right? Get tons of spam calls, whatever. But those that send those follow-up texts, I really appreciate. Okay, Bryn, going back to you, buddy. Want to hear from you, sales process.
Well, I am in my 38th year of sales. Nothing new under the sun. We're all salesmen. That's just what life is. In some way, you are representing something. You're wanting to survive, and so you are selling something. And my background is extensively sales. Corporate America. I worked for corporate America for quite some time before taking a break and then venturing into this field. But sales is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And there's some great things said, like people buy from people they like. That's just simple. Don't hire a sales guy that you don't like the second you meet them, for an interview. If you don't like, they're not going to buy from people they don't like. That's really simple. And I operate on a consultative sales. And for me, that's what is most effective, where I'm coming alongside of the homeowner in this case. And I'll use that as an example. It's like, yeah, what do you see? Why do you see this working? Why do you see it not working? Trying to work with them and give them ideas and saying, if I were you, this is what I would do. And one of the things that I love with sales is telling them that you'll advise them not to move forward with the renovation or not to move forward with the upgrade if it means taking food off the table, if it means not accomplishing their goals, not accomplishing what they want. Say, I'd advise you not to do that. And that throws a lot of people when you're like, wait, you don't want me to buy the thing from you or what? That confuses a lot of people. But what I wrote down, again, I think Chris said it, is keeping the ether going. And that's what all those stats say. You have to keep the ether going. It has to be constant, even if it's daily touching base with a client that hasn't signed a contract, but you're 99% sure they are. You have to touch base with them every single day. I mean, you just have to, because you cannot let it die off. And I think Chris, you also said, this is something we do every day. A lot of times, especially for the remodeling side, the bigger remodels, this is something these clients may do once in a lifetime, once in a decade, once every 20 years. And that process is scary, confusing, and they need to have their hand held throughout the whole process. We do it every day. And if they feel confident that this person is going to lead me and guide me through this process, and that's from the second they first talk to you, then they're going to hold your hand. They're going to let you lead them where they need to go. And people like to be sold. You know, I worked as a car salesman for years, and you don't walk onto a car lot not wanting to buy a car. You want to go buy a car. You go to Best Buy, you want to buy some sort of electronic. That's why you're there. If somebody can eliminate all the objections you have as to why you shouldn't buy it, then you want to buy it. And I don't want to hijack this into a big sales thing. I know you said specifically sales process, Robert. And for us,
that's great, Brent. That's a great info.
Yeah, and so for the process, what we've experienced is I think so far we've lost 2. Actually, we've only technically lost 1 proposal that we have made, that they were shopping and we knew it, and there was no relationship. And I think that's the key, is we really try to focus on the relationship right from the very beginning. We're asking more than just the details of the project. Let's talk about your family. How's your family going to utilize this space? What does this mean to you? Why does it mean so much? You know, oh, tell me, you mentioned this, tell me about that. And it's completely unrelated to the job. And that relationship has been phenomenal. All the clients that we've had and the clients that we're currently working, and the clients that are in the pipeline that don't have signed contracts, we know their kids, we know their family, and we know the history, we know their neighbors, some of them, and we're pretty confident that we're gonna, make that deal happen because of the relationship. Now that's a lot of work, and we're talking, for us, it is bigger contracts. It's not, we're not talking $5,000-$10,000 handyman jobs. We're talking anywhere from 50 to 300,000. So they're bigger, and if you spend more time with them and miss out on the job, but your close rate is higher overall, I think it's going to be more profitable for us, and it has been so far. And I know it's only been, truthfully, this is 1 month of constant sales from the marketing that was done, and we already have bid out almost 1.6 million in 30 days. And
let's go.
So, and literally today's day 30 of turning Google local services on, and day 20 of turning Facebook ads off that was on for 10 days. So, and it's just spending that time. Some people might say it's a lot of time, truthfully, because it is a lot of time to spend and go back and forth and make sure that the client's really taken care of. Even if you see there's a really good chance it's not going to happen, they appreciate it. They'll tell their friends, if nothing else, and they'll trust you more. And that'll mean something to the next person that they talk to.
I appreciate you sharing that, Brent. That's really good stuff. Yeah, I think, people can share with it, but having like a good sales process really starts with having a good way to manage your leads. That's why we give everyone, CMM, that pipeline, is because of some of these things that we're talking about: the importance of following up, the importance of reaching out quickly, the importance of doing these things. That's very difficult to do if all of your leads are not going to just one place, and you're not organizing your leads by which stage of the pipeline that they're in, right? I don't care if it's in our software or not. I just want to make sure that that is happening in your business. If it's happening in different software, great, right? I don't care, right? We offer a solution for people that want one, that benefit from one, that need one. But having all your leads go to one place, it's not being written down on a piece of paper on a note here and there. Or, it's like, well, we have our estimates in our software, but we don't have, our leads in our software. Have all your leads be going to one place so that you can actually implement this stuff. Put it in stages so that you know where people are at in certain sales stages, so you know how to follow up with them, right? Real quick, going back to a little bit more of what, because I thought Nephi really brought up a great point. It's like, yes, the importance of reaching out to a lead quickly, being the first guy, I get that. But what about the follow-up kind of process, right? What about there? Here's some more stats. According to Modernized Home Services, contractors who follow up 6 times increase closing rates by 70%. By the way, this applies to service businesses too. Because not every service job is just some guy, you get a call from a customer, you send the tech out, they're there for 2 hours, they collect and they leave. That is true for many jobs. Don't get me wrong. That is true for many service jobs. But I also know it's true to write an estimate for a panel change out, or for a water heater, or for a new HVAC installation, or a repipe. That's thousands of dollars in many cases, right? Electric car charger installation. These are all residential services. All this applies to that too. Contractors who follow up 6 times increase close rates by 70%. I don't know why in service that doesn't happen as much, right? We write a customer an estimate. And again, with the commercial builders, that's kind of its own game. But I would still apply this stuff to them if you want to win those deals, right? Nothing's going to hurt your chance of winning. I would trust, how you're managing it with the builder. So that's, first of all, your builders. I would trust how you're managing it with them. I'm not telling you to do something that's like, yeah, that's going to really not go well for me. Don't do that. But a lot of times we buy into these summaries, these narratives that do not correspond with reality at all about the way things work. And that dictates our behaviors or lack of behaviors, right? I had a coach recently identify this with me as it relates to like writing, He's like, I told him I went through a lot of challenges in life. I got off my writing game and, had some stuff going on in business. My wife was in the hospital. I got pneumonia. I got off my game. It was like, yeah, that's bad, but like also be careful of the narratives that you're buying into that you couldn't write during that entire time, right? Be careful of the narratives that you're buying into about how your customers think and operate that have no true correspondence with reality, right? And make your sales process, your follow-up process based upon these actual verifiable data points. 48% of contractors never follow up after an estimate. Follow-up calls made within 24 hours of the estimate increase close rates by 40%. Oh, they need to think about it. I don't want to bother them. Okay, there's like a small sliver of truth of that. But like, I'm telling you guys, I don't know if you guys have done construction work on your house, but like your customers are not like spending hours and hours together reviewing your estimate. You know what I mean? They're not like sitting there for hours and like making your estimate their entire life. They're probably talking about it for maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. Something that I've started telling people, even in our sales process, is they're like, hey, can you follow up with me? Yes, I'll follow up with you by tomorrow, because I know I want you to talk about it. I don't want you to feel rushed to make a decision. At the same time, I also know that these things don't really take days and days and days to talk about, right? If you're not wanting to move forward, totally fine, right? But would like to know that tomorrow, or would like to know if you're in tomorrow, even if you need to start later, that's totally fine. Just one way or the other. Follow-up calls made within 24 hours of the estimate increase close rates by 40%. So, okay, that's enough of me preaching. I appreciate Lance, Bryn, Chris, all the shares today. Scott Keith, are you driving to Tulsa, buddy?
We are on the
Look
road.
at that. We will see you soon, man.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be good to have you. Scott is coming to Tulsa to film a video. He's going to be sharing his story kind of with Redmond Growth here at our offices, and I'm going to hang out with him for a little bit tonight. So, yeah, really good to see that you're still tuning in, man.
Rick's with them too. I think I see Rick over there.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, y'all don't be leaving me out.
Yeah, don't forget Rick. Come on now, Robert.
Rick, it's good to see you. I'm so excited. And who is that? Who is that woman in the back? I thought I saw someone kind of hiding in the back.
That's my wife.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
it's great to have her too. It's so good to have you all coming. Any questions or comments on anything that we've shared so far, or completely unrelated? Did you come here with a question that could have got overlooked in discussion of this? Kind of want to open it up to questions, comments, anything like that.
I have an unrelated question, if that's okay.
Let's hear it, Barbara.
All right. So I have a construction company, and it has now 3 different directions. So I wanted to get everybody's feedback on that. I have remodels and additions, which are quite contemporary, and I like the contemporary style. Claire, close my door, Claire. I also have historical renovations because we do a lot of plaster and stucco. So it just happens so that we get a lot of historical houses. Additionally, because we do plaster and stucco, we get into a lot of dry rot, and because we live in the Northwest. So rain comes in and it goes through the cracks between the roof and the stucco, or between the roof and the siding into the windows. So I do a lot of those investigations, and I'm able to tell why they have a leak and why they have dry rot. So these are the 3 different ones. I'm thinking about having 2 companies at least, one for remodels, one for expert dry rot prevention. But what about historical renovations? Where do I put that one?
Conrad wants to know, what's your location, Barbara? You're in the Portland, Oregon area, right?
Yes, I'm in Portland, Oregon. It rains 6 months out of a year.
Yeah, and I was living in Seattle. I can attest to that. It rains a lot. Okay, does anyone have feedback for Barbara? Should we split in different companies? Which one should be focused on first? So Barbara, I'll start, and then if anyone wants to chime in, we'd love to hear people chime in.
Great.
So this honestly reminds me of a question that was brought up last week. I don't know if he's on the call today, but of Corey with Bird's Eye View Remodeling here in Owasso. Corey's son Caleb has been a contractor for a long time. He's primarily been an exteriors guy. And Corey joined the business, and with their partnership, they're able to do a lot more. They're capable of a lot more. It's great. But his question was, hey, how do we really find what we should focus on first? How should we really find our niche? And the first thing that I would recommend is I kind of share this principle of following the fruit, right? Follow the fruit. What I mean by that is that continue to pursue those things which are coming to your business the most, rather than try to force something to happen that you may want to happen, or you may think is kind of going back to the same today of being careful buying into the narratives, right? Rather than trying to force something to happen, follow the fruit of what's already happening. What are customers reaching out to you the most for, right? What are their priorities? What are their needs? What's coming to your business already, and begin to pursue that.
Well, that's the thing. I actually looked, and it's 50-50 between expert understanding of why there is water in their house versus remodels. Historical renovations is kind of in both categories, because sometimes we renovate historical homes, sometimes we don't.
So the kind of main feedback that I would give you is I'd be very careful to start a different brand. I would stay away from that if possible. Number one, just because it's not really necessary. At least at this point in your business, it's not really necessary. Number two is because it's not necessary, it's going to require a lot more work than what's necessary for you to do the same thing. For example, doing a logo change where you just have in your logo remodeling, exteriors, historical renovations at the bottom, and then you have it on the homepage of your website, those 3 things, Portland's premier leader in exteriors, remodels, and historical renovations, that's sufficient to be all under one brand. The other reason is because a lot of times when you get one particular type of job, that will open up an opportunity to do more work, right? You get an exteriors job, customer sees you, the way you work, they like you, they say, well, hey, can you take a look at my bathroom? You get a bathroom or an addition, siding and exteriors may be a part of that. Well, I want kind of this different kind of siding on my new addition. We might as well replace the rest of the siding on the home. And so having multiple brands would just create more confusion. I just instead of keeping it all under one roof. These are all brands that relate to each other. So like, it's similar to what I recommend to service businesses, right? Hey, I'm an electrician. I want to start a plumbing division. Hey, I'm an HVAC. I want to start electrical division. Okay, don't start a new company. Do that under your brand because you're offering closely related service to the service that you're already going in there for. It will already make sense for the customer for you to be able to offer a solution in a different area than may be what is different than what they originally even called you in versus, well, hey, we can, here's the invoice for this brand, here's the invoice for that brand, right? Does that help bring some clarity, Barbara?
Yeah, it's completely different thought than what I had. It's interesting. The only concern I have is that people do like to see us as experts, and oftentimes we will come when they already, for example, replaced all doors and all windows because the expert in renovations came and replaced the doors, but they didn't fix the dry rot under the windows, and they didn't address the cause. So I would like to differentiate myself. And I do, like I said, 50% of my business is that, understanding why it's actually leaking in their house. And they already had a couple of remodelers by that time. Versus the other part is like, yeah, people were planning to do a remodel. They were thinking about it. They saved money. And now they invite me and I do this work. The other category, they already spent the money on, doing that remodel that wasn't successful. And now they want the real expert to actually tell them what's going on, why it's leaking, and actually fix the underlying problems. That's why it's two different groups of customers.
Scott, did you have something related to this, or was that an accident?
No, I just going to respond real quick. My thought on that would be, in that line, kind of a compromise of thought there would be to brand yourself as the expert side of the business and then pick up the remodeling while you were there.
Mm-hmm, right. And I also do remodels.
That's really good feedback.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nephi, you got something?
Yeah, I was going to say that was also my thought. Like, I think you might be overcomplicating it a little by being concerned about the expertise, right? I think that you can obfuscate how your business is oriented, right? And you can say we have a division that supports that, and then you're implying that you have these sort of different work groups, even though it might be the same person. But you can the way that you phrase things can allow it to seem like you're an expert in multiple things, because I think a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around the idea that you can have expertise in more than one thing, right? They expect when you say that you're an expert in plumbing that means maybe you're not great at anything else. So fine, that's a social assumption that we're going to have to deal with, all of us, right? So I think again, depending on how you phrase things, I think, was it Scott that mentioned that a minute ago? You come in as an expert in mitigation, and then, we also do remodels. We have a division that does that, or we have a group that specializes in that piece too. You brought us in for X, we can do Y. Also, we can do Z because we have that expertise as well. So I think you do have to be careful a little bit about overcomplicating it by adding a bunch of marketing and merchandising that can then sort of confuse customers, right? But I think, I think you can probably accomplish the same thing based on how you phrase things and how you interact with the customers. Does that make sense?
Selling is not an issue. Yeah, I do exactly what you are saying. On the front end, how do I market it? Do I market 3 different companies, or do I market as Robert said, we do historical renovations, remodels, and we are also experts in white leaks, water prevention.
A great example of this, Barbara, is actually Scott, who chimed in here. Scott and Rick, is when they first started with us, they were just an electrical company called Complete Electric Solutions, and now they do plumbing and HVAC. And so it's all under the Complete Home Services umbrella. It's one company that they do all 3 services underneath it. but we do have different Google business listings. We have one for HVAC, one for plumbing, one for electrical. They're all for the same company, but their primary category, one's for plumbing, one's for HVAC, one's for electrical. And then they have one Google Local Services account, because with Google Local Services, you can add as many categories as you want. And so they just have one, they manage those through to advertise. And I think that, Barbara, that's going to be a very similar model to what you and I will do together. Is that?
Yeah, and also I was thinking 2 websites, but now I'm thinking maybe 3 websites.
I think we could do just one website. Just that's what
Do not
Complete has.
do 2 or 3 websites. Do not do that, Barbara. I'm telling you. So the principle is this: doing the thing that you think right now will keep you small is the thing that will get you bigger than you could have by doing 3 brands. The more you go into a niche every time, the more that you will grow and get more opportunity. You could probably just brand yourself, as some of the people are saying here, as an expert historical renovator. That would lead you to enough opportunities on just normal remodels and some of the other kind of exterior stuff, than trying to do 3 brands or 2 brands or 2 websites. It's a common mistake. It's not crazy to think along those lines, right? Most people do, because it's counterintuitive a little bit. But the more that you go to a niche, the more success I've seen that people will have. So
interesting. Okay. All right. Thanks.
yeah, appreciate the question. Great question. Great conversation. Anything else? Conrad, you doing good, buddy? You look good, man. Repping the USA. Love it.
Bryn, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I had a phone call with a interior designer yesterday, and kind of went over kind of an option to potentially partner with them, enter into and have them as just a 1099 under us. And wanted to kind of chat a bit, see if anybody else had any experience sourcing that out to an interior designer to handle a lot of the selections for remodels and stuff. We're meeting again next week in person, going to go look at the portfolio, look at some things that they've done, but just kind of wanted to see if anybody had any experience with like a set fee for just design fee for even for just getting to the point of signing a contract, having them do a little bit of legwork to help put the part of what our process has been is doing a little bit of legwork beyond what I think most people do, which is coming up with even a little bit of a 3D model, a little bit of design, just to help the customer visualize the whole deal. So we're looking at tying that in and just being a cost of business, so to speak, with the hopes that, for one contracted more than pay for that person, as opposed to having somebody on staff to do that and help with kind of the design and the initial bidding process or estimating. So just curious if anybody else had any feedback or input on that.
Yeah, we only have 3 minutes left, but we actually work pretty closely with a couple of different designers. And one of the things we do is we just offer it as a service to our clients. Like if you feel like you need design selections, some people, when you meet them, you're just like, this could take forever. You really probably need the help of a designer. Then we offer that service to them. And we just basically have a fee worked in with our designer, where they're going to do certain things. She has like a little breakdown of what she'll do. And then we offer it to our client and just kind of mark it up a little bit. But that way she can kind of take doing the legwork of like drawings, selections, things like that, and then come back to us when they're ready. I work with a few different designers like that, actually.
What sort of project size are you talking, Lance, on those?
Like sometimes it's just a bathroom, like very intricate bathrooms. Sometimes it's a whole house.
Okay.
But almost always when we're looking at doing like a whole house for somebody, I almost always offer design services.
Right. Prior to bidding anything out, or is that post bid?
No, it would be included in their bid. It'd be included in. So if the fees say like, for instance, $3,500 for designs and selections, we would just include that in the estimate. This is going to include that. And so then we take a deposit, and then they would start design and selections before we get ready to start ordering materials and stuff.
Yeah, and I hear that, and that's something I would do 100%. I'm curious about maybe a very basic design prior to the actual signing of the contract. You know what I mean? So doing it when I present the bid, it's got a little 3D render. It's got some sort of idea of what the customer's looking for, so they know what they're buying.
Yeah, I had a, that's actually interesting you say that. So I ordered something from somebody one time. I think it was like shirts or no, it was our new logo. And he created like a PDF file. He did it like in Adobe, and it was basically like screenshots of all these different things. And I adopted it and I started using it as a template for people where we would say like, you know, the guest bathroom, and it has like a little picture of a shaker vanity or, you know, a type of tile and then a faucet. And then it's like just kind of just showing them like visuals of what everything is. It's really simple and easy to do. And it has like our logo on it, has our phone number, all that good stuff, like on the bottom. But it's like, it's something nice to give them in addition to their estimate without taking too much time on like an extra drawing.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Brian, put your email in there in the chat, and I'll email it to you. I'm talking about like a template.
Philip, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Hey, good to see you guys too. Yeah, we've struggled with that too because we've had a lot of clients, you know, we'll kind of do base selections, kind of base rough budgets for selections, and then clients will end up choosing, you know, a vanity that's 3 times what we budgeted for tile that's $30 a square foot when we're only budgeting for $10 a square foot or less. And so we're trying to work out a model where, you know, we kind of give them a rough budget, and then you know, that changes based on you know, their selections and the interior design that happens during the fine tuning of the budget, which is tough too because you give people a price, but then you're like, you know, they go through the selections process and then their selections double in cost and all that. So that's a hard one to navigate that we're still trying to figure out too.
And for that, I mean, I've used allowances, right? And I think allowances is an easy way to do it. And then, you know, you have something in your contract says above the allowance, obviously that's a change order that we need to readjust. But yeah, I think that is probably a much easier solution, is just having that allowance built into your proposal so that they can pick and choose. For what I struggle with the most is prior to trying to get the vision of what they want on paper, because they don't want to sign a contract until they see. So we've been doing a lot of additions. So they want to see what it's going to look like. They want to visualize what that new space is going to look like and see. And I can visualize it, no problem. But a lot of times they don't really know, and they need that help figuring out what that looks like. And I think, Robert, we kind of mentioned it. You can have that design service. We could say, well, then we need to get somebody in here and pay them to do this process. Sometimes that's an added bar to entry. And if I've got somebody that can do just contract work where on the side and they can throw a quick 3D render together, save me a couple hours of work and be more cost effective, then I'd be up for that.
Yeah,
Sorry, when you do your estimates, how do you figure out what the square footage is and everything? Just go with the tape measure, or
no, we use AI software, you know, Scan Magic Plan or this Cubicasa. There's a bunch of them out there that just go in and 5 minutes scan the whole house. So I got the base of the house, but then sometimes turning that into from a 2D or a gray, terrible looking design to actually something that they can visualize and see where they're going to spend $200,000-300,000. It's a little bit different.
Oh, for sure. I got you. Yeah, I think you're right. 1099, that shit. As long as somebody doesn't have to go out there and get the specs,
right.
You could just send that to them. Then that's pretty.
Do that immediately.
Right,
yeah,
right.
That's our first visit. We scan the house, get the permission.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, for sure. So you're most of the way there.
Yeah. Offer at 1099, and Brendan, what I tell you is don't necessarily make it a barrier to entry. So offer it as a service, you know, that the customer may want, and if they don't want it, you know what I mean, don't try to hard sell it, right? So hey, we've actually got this service. We've got someone in-house that can do all the design work for you. They can make you a beautiful 3D rendering, give you kind of a better visual view. This is a big project. There's a fee associated with that, but this person does great work. Would you want us to get started on that so that you can have a better idea of what this is going to look like? Make it an offer, right? And then if you got that 1099 contract set up, it should be pretty easy to manage when you need this person and whatnot.
It's funny how people will balk at a $500 design fee.
I know.
Check for 400,000 the next day for the remodel. So it's just, that's one of those barred entries. I'm like, come on,
yeah, that's what I'm really trying to say is just make it an option. Don't lose a whole job on, trying to sell someone on a design fee because of that reason. So guys, great call today. We're going to wrap up. Nicole had to leave. So I'm going to lead you guys off. Growth on 3, unmute your mics, and let's make it a great week. 3, 2, 1, grow.
Growth.
There you go, guys. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of the week.